Welcome back to Movie Moshow. Today we are going to review the coming-of-age drama film, Hacksaw Ridge. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We post multiple times daily. Spoilers ahead. Desmond Doss, a little boy, nearly kills his sibling in a fight in 1925 Lynchburg, Virginia. Desmond's conviction in the prohibition against killing is reinforced by that incident and his background as a Seventh-day Adventist. Doss brings an injured guy to the hospital 15 years later, where he meets Dorothy Shuta, a nurse. They fall in love, and Doss reveals to Dorothy his desire to practice in medicine. Doss enlists in the American Army to work as a combat medic after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor drags the United States into World War II. His First World War veteran father Tom, who suffers from PTSD, is quite angry over the choice. Dorothy and Desmond become engaged. Doss is assigned to basic training under Sergeant Howell's supervision. Although he is physically gifted, his refusal to use a firearm or train on Saturdays makes him unpopular among his fellow troops. The request to dismiss Doss for psychiatric reasons under Section 8 is rejected by Howell and Captain Glover because Doss's religious views do not qualify as a mental disorder. Then, in an effort to force Doss outside, they torture him by making him perform arduous chores. He is assaulted by his fellow troops one night but refuses to name them. After completing basic training, Doss's unit is released for leave. During this time, Doss plans to marry Dorothy, but his refusal to carry a gun results in an arrest for disobedience. Doss refuses to compromise his convictions despite Captain Glover and Dorothy's efforts to get him to plead guilty in order to be released without being charged when they visit him in jail. Doss enters a not guilty plea at his court-martial, but just before he is handed down a punishment, his father storms the courtroom with a letter from his son's former commanding officer, who is now a brigadier general, asserting that his son's pacifism is protected by the U.S. Constitution. Doss and Dorothy become married after the accusations against him are withdrawn. The 77th Infantry Division is in charge of Doss's unit, which has been dispatched to the Pacific Theater. Doss's battalion will relieve the 96th Infantry Division, which was entrusted with scaling and securing the Meta Escarpment, also known as Hacksaw Ridge, during the Battle of Okinawa. Doss gains his respect during the initial battle, which results in significant casualties on both sides. Doss tells Smitty that his dislike to owning a gun derives from almost shooting his drunken father who threatened his mother with a gun as the Americans camped there for the night. Smitty apologizes for questioning his bravery, and they make up. The Japanese execute a strong counterattack the following morning, driving the Americans off the escarpment. Howell and a number of Doss's allies sustain injuries on the battlefield, while Smitty is killed. Doss returns to save the dying soldiers after hearing their cries. He carries the injured soldiers and Smitty's body to the brink of the cliff where he belays them down with a rope while each time asking God to spare one more life. The rest of the troop below is shocked to see dozens of wounded people who had been assumed dead arrive. Doss saves Howell at dawn, and the two manage to flee Hacksaw while being shot at by the enemy. As they prepare to recapture the ridge on Saturday, Captain Glover apologizes for calling Doss's convictions cowardice and says they won't launch the next attack without him. Doss consents, but the procedure is postponed until after he has finished his Sabbath prayers. With more troops, they change the course of the conflict. Doss is able to save Glover and others by deflecting enemy grenades during an ambush set up by Japanese soldiers who are pretending to surrender. A grenade burst injures Doss, but the battle is won. Doss, who is holding the Bible that Dorothy had given him, is brought down from the precipice. The movie then cuts to actual images and footage demonstrating that Doss was given the Medal of Honor by President Harry S. Truman for saving 75 soldiers at Hacksaw Ridge. It also includes actual footage of Doss speaking about his wartime experiences soon before his death. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.